Hello, and welcome to the official podcast of the Cleveland International Film Festival, CIFF Speaks, sponsored by Wayside Furniture. I'm Dee Perry, and I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Aaron Spears. And Aaron, the theme of this year's film festival is Shine On, and CIFF 46 did just that during the in-person screenings at Playhouse Square. Now that that's wrapped up, it's time to turn the spotlight on CIFF 46 Streams.
Indeed it is, Dee. And on this episode of CIFF Speaks, we'll share details about the online festival that kicks off today, April 10th at 11 a.m. and will continue through April 17th.
And joining us is one of the staff members who curated content for both the in-person and the streaming festival, CIFF's Short Films Programming Manager, Paul Sloop.
Paul, before we focus on the streaming programs for the shorts, we wanted to get your take on the finally back in-person experience this year. How did it feel to interact with audiences again?
Simply incredible. Everybody, I think, is so excited, from the staff to our guest filmmakers to our audiences, and that energy and enthusiasm shows up in every Q&A and every interaction at the festival. Also, being in our new home at Playhouse Square is just blowing people away. Our guest filmmakers are just stunned by what they're experiencing when they walk at, my film's going to play here? Really? I've arrived.
Yeah.
It's been an absolutely incredible experience and something we couldn't wait to get back to.
Sure.
And it has definitely been worth it in every way.
I'm obviously experiencing it from the audience point of view, but it's something that I've been noticing as we talk to filmmakers of, they're so happy to be back in person. But like you said, also, you're not just playing in any old theater. I mean, you are playing in an older theater, but you know what I mean? Like that, the grandeur of Playhouse Square has to have a real great wow factor to the filmmakers.
It absolutely does. We had one of our filmmakers tell us at one of the parties afterwards, I was here a few years ago with my short film, and when we left, my team was like, wow, the Cleveland International Film Festival, how could it get any better? It did. She's like, it's like you go into this theater and it's this gorgeous palace of a theater, and then you think, and there's a bunch of them lined up side by side by side.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. So, that's the kind of comments we're getting, the kind of experience we're getting from our filmmakers.
Excellent.
And when you throw in the enthusiastic audience that our festival brings, it's just the perfect combination for our guest filmmakers, and something they've been dying to re-experience because it's just been so long to where their films have been streaming. And yes, we're going to stream them too, but this was the part we couldn't wait to get back to. We want to make sure we can share the film so the art doesn't just disappear. But this is the magic, is doing it in person, bringing the audience and the filmmakers together.
For sure.
I just wanted to get a quick take from you on the experience of sitting in a theater and watching people react to a program that you've put together of shorts. How does that feel?
It gives you goosebumps when the films land right. We did our Get Shorty event back in late February. And that was our first event back. Our last in-person event as a festival was Get Shorty. And so here we are in 2022, 3 years later, kicking our festival back off with another Get Shorty. And without giving away the film, because we're playing it again in the festival, there was the comedy in that lineup got one of the strongest reactions we've ever seen. And we were almost in tears in the back, because that's why we do this. And the audience has got to experience for the first time in a long time what it means to sit and watch a film. And those comedies are great at home. You watch them on the films, but it's nothing like it when you have the infection of hundreds of people around you laughing with you. And that we felt that one, along with the heartwarming films. There's just nothing like it. And it's why I will always be an advocate for the big screen, in-person screenings, and bringing filmmakers and audiences together.
Because you've spoken before, too, about putting together shorts programs. Well, like there's the up and down and the ebb and flow of the individual narratives that are kind of all selected and in this particular order, which is great to experience at home the last couple of years. But that kind of roller coaster that you're taking people through within a shorts program in the theater probably feels pretty good to be hearing the oohs and ahs as they're experiencing the lineup as you've assembled it, too.
It does. And, more than once during this festival, the audience members have stopped to make comments during the Q&As like, oh, Paul, such a great job. I think it's better than ever, and this and that. And the reality is, I think it's an undue compliment in this way. I think it is part of being back in person. The lineups, we do what we do. We've been doing it for a while, and the films have been good for many years, but we've missed 3 years of being together. So it really feels extra special this year, and so that shine is getting to rub off on me as though I'm responsible for it. I'm like, no, that it's what our festival does, and it's bringing you together to see these in person and to do that.
I like that. And that's the theme this year, Shine On. So, so we've been talking about in person, but now we're on to the streaming part of the festival. This is the first day of that. What do our listeners need to know about CIFF 46 Streams?
Well, I think first of all, and probably most importantly, is that a full 2/3 of our lineup is available as part of CIFF 46 Streams. All of the short films are there. And in some ways, I think the only thing you're missing is the opportunity to vote on the winners because we've already picked them. But your benefit is you get to see them all packaged as the winners and know that in advance. But every version of our programs, along with our award-winning programs, will be available to you through that. So you can choose those individually or get a pass. I highly recommend getting a pass. There's way too much fantastic content to try to pick and choose from amongst that. It's pretty easy to do. You just hop on our website at clevelandfilm.org/membership, and you'll find some options there. If you want to get a pass, you'll go to the membership option. Well, you'll be there and you choose the pass. It's the second option in the membership is a streaming membership. If you do want to choose a film, all you have to do is, or a shorts program, all you have to do is go to the schedule, find the specific film or program, and make that selection to purchase a ticket for that. Either way, we make it as easy as possible for you to access your content because that's going to generate a confirmation email. It's going to come to the email address you use to make your purchase, and that'll include the link to take you where you need to go. Obviously, if you've purchased a ticket, you'll just hop on and it'll take you right to the film or shorts program you've chosen. If you chose a membership, you're going to need to go ahead and complete an account, use your email and create a password. And the cool thing about that is it will allow you then to download our app. We have a CIFF Streams app that can be used on both Apple TV and a Roku. And then you can, stream it directly to your TV through one of those. If you're technically capable, you also know you can, run an HDMI directly from your computer to your TV. I do that a lot in previewing and watch them that way as well. So you can't do the theater with us, but you can put it on a big screen in your house if you have one of those. So those are your options, and all that information is right on our website.
Well, in one way you can kind of recreate as best you can that theater environment too is all of the Q&As that are up on the festival's YouTube channel too. Those have just been recorded throughout the festival. Yeah, we've had those recorded and up on the YouTube pages for you. We would recommend that you watch the films first so you don't, catch any spoilers. Oh, right. But like you said, that gives you the festival experience because that is what makes a festival different than just watching movies, is getting to interact with the artists who created the work from so many different disciplines. You never know whether we'll have, often it's the director, but sometimes we've had some incredible actors with us. I don't know that I've ever had so many actors in short films that people recognize. Really? We had Isaiah Whitlock Jr. here this year, who he's in so many things. We had Robert Blake, I'm going to forget his last name. He was the internal affairs guy from SVU Law and Order. Both of those guys were in a film together, and they came to the festival for the world premiere of a film called Triggered. But we've had so much recognizable talent at the festival this year. So I think that's another factor of COVID. Okay, let's make something. What can we make? Even if it's a short, let's do it. We're all in. Yeah. Let's make it.
Yeah, I've really been impressed by the quality and the storytelling in the shorts that we've talked about so far. So kudos.
It's great. Kudos to the filmmakers. We keep saying short films get better every year. This is my 19th year having the pleasure and privilege of doing this for this fantastic festival. And every year it gets a little harder because there are so many films that get better and better. And our team is just like, okay, we could program a whole second festival with the ones we couldn't play this year.
Have you heard from the filmmakers, maybe or do you have a theory, I guess, onto why that might be? Do you think the tech is easier to manage now, so it allows people just go out and be more creative without having to, I don't want to downplay cinematography or editing, but you know what I mean? It's not exposing 16 millimeter film and then syncing sound and since production might be a little bit easier now?
It is. And I think that the gateway to things seeing this precipitous increase in quality in short films was the switch to digital. But then the next thing that had to happen is filmmakers had to master the tools that are available to make digital films.
Right.
We've had, and not even knowing it, 3 or 4 filmmakers say, yeah, I made that completely on iPhones 3 times in this festival, but we would not have known that had they not told us, because they've learned how to even master, this is how you use an iPhone right, so that they won't even know.
Right.
So they've over time, more and more filmmakers have access. It's not so pricey that you can't make a short film. And the tools, they're mastering how to use the tools to tell the stories they want to tell. And with every year, more mastery comes to a broader range of filmmakers. And the other thing that is so wonderful about that is the diversity of voices that are able to tell their stories. It's been such a pleasure to see what we have available to us this year compared to any other year. The diversity is what made my heart sing heading into this festival, is how many different directors and who they represent, communities that are so often underrepresented, are represented in this year's festival with the shorts.
So speaking of going into CIFF Streams right now, the online portion of the Cleveland Film Festival, what were some of the online festivals, or did you get to go in person to any festivals the past year to look at shorts, or was it kind of exclusively an online experience for you as you were curating here?
This year was a hybrid experience for me. Like so many others, there were festivals that were in person. I went to the Louisiana Film Prize in Shreveport, where they give away $50,000 to the top short film that's shot there. It's a fantastic event. A lot of energy. The closest event I've ever been to with the energy of our festival, because it's all film lovers. It's a community that swarms to embrace 20 short films and the filmmakers who made them. Having said that, they're filmmakers. Many of them have been to us, and they go back and go, if we can just get to the Cleveland level, we've got it made. So we do have something special here. But I did get to go to that. I was in a festival in Reno, Nevada called the Corollary International Film Festival. But, it's a great story of exactly why this is crazy. The day before they were going to open, things switched again, and the mask mandate would kick in on Friday. So opening night Thursday, nobody had to wear masks, but then for their whole weekend festival, they did. And they had fires in the mountains, both east and west of the city. So there was already an issue, whether with or without COVID. These are just things that all festivals have been navigating. Obviously we're so happy to be back in person, but we had to plan for this a long time ago. So it was tricky navigating for us to figure out, which is why we have CIFF 46 Streams. That's
and I'm also curious about buzz, word of mouth. Were there shorts that you sought out because you heard about them somewhere else?
Yeah, one of the great things of being someone who's done this for 19 years is that I have a lot of close friends now who are also programmers. And because my group there's a posse of us, we call it the posse of 7, that we're not into we have to have a world premiere and we don't want to tell anybody else. We're quite the opposite. We find great films. We want those filmmakers to get their films played as many places as they can. So we openly share and say, you've got to see this film. We all share our top 40, 50 list with each other. So, I have several really big film festivals, a couple in LA. I'm not afraid to name the festivals. Indie Shorts, which used to be part of the Heartland, their programmers are really close with us. We commonly share titles and recommend things that, we're often the one playing it first. Sometimes they're the one playing it first, but we just want to get the love out there. So there's a lot of films that come to me from word of mouth, usually from other programmers and occasionally from other filmmakers. I'll get an email from an alum filmmaker says, I saw this at a festival and I know you'll love it.
Well, that's great.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I'm assuming you still get direct submissions as well.
A lot of those. Yes. Thousands. Absolutely. We have definitely had well over 3,000 for shorts this year. And when you add in the films that I see elsewhere that didn't directly submit, we considered well over 4,000 short films for our programming this year. So, lots of films.
And that makes me wonder how you do it. I mean, describe a day in the life of Paul Sloop when it's time to select films.
Well, the good news is I don't select the films by myself. That would be absolutely Well, first of all, you fall in love with so many films. Who wants to be the person to say, I picked these children that I've adopted and these I don't? That's what it feels like by the time you get there. I've adopted all of them. I love them all. And now we've got to let some of them go. So we have a team. There are 5 of us on the team that watch all the things that score high enough. And then we together go through the grueling process of determining which ones we're going to finally select for the festival. During the year, it's a lot of watching films. But our process, we're very fortunate to have so many wonderful volunteers who give a lot of their time to watch the films, those thousands of submissions that come in. As I said, I'd say we scored over 3,000 this year with at least 3 of those people watching each film. One of the things I do then is we call it an export. I export all their scores and figure out which films have scored high enough to move on to the programming team. And then, I take that information and create spreadsheets, and we all watch those films and score them. So by the time films make our festival, typically shorts have been seen by at least 7 and often as many as 10 previewers. So there's a lot of input so that the film, what I love about that is the community, really, our community chose the short films that are playing for the rest of our broader community.
I'm hearing you say that we watch them together. So no one is siloing and watching like 500 over here or 200 over here, but you come together in a period of time and say, this is on the top of my list, and then negotiate.
Well, this is what's one of the things, there are all those silver linings that came with the COVID pandemic. Prior to that, the idea of doing Zoom meetings, it wasn't a thing that we even thought about, right?
Right.
So where our team honestly only communicated via email prior to COVID, and we would meet one time, we'd have one 5-hour session when it was time to make the selections. One of the things we instituted is every Thursday night, we had an open house Zoom call where we could all get on and chat about what we've seen.
Yeah.
And we made it like it's all, other than me, it's all volunteers, but it was like, it's just an open door policy. But typically at least 4 of the 5 of us were there, just chatting about the films that most excited us from the previous week. Then those who hadn't seen it would watch it and then let us know what they thought as well. And so we went into that big meeting. That meeting didn't take nearly as long because we had so much momentum, and we all sort of knew where each other was and what the favorite films were. So we've all said, that will never go away at this point, because that was
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was a great find. So, every Thursday night at 6:45, the Zoom session opens, and those of us on the team that are available hop on and we talk about what we saw this week and what we love. And so many of those films are in this lineup and are doing so well, making a great impression with the guest filmmakers here.
So the ratio you're saying was like close to 4,000 shorts that the team viewed, and then you got down to how many total that played at the festival that'll also be streaming coming up?
So let's go one step back. About 750 of those did well enough out of the roughly 4,000 to become the ones that programming team of 5 watched.
Okay.
And out of those, we selected about 153 for our programs. And then when you add in, we also do some very specialty programming for the incredible Film Slam program that Beth Radisek runs. So we add in titles that make total sense for that audience as well. And that pushed us over 180 short films when you put those together for the festival this year, which is still, less than 5% of the films we considered actually made the festival.
Wow.
So then I have a follow-up on that one that I've always been curious about. So you're very familiar with the ones that are being shown, obviously, at the festival. Have you ever been able to guess the audience award winners or any of the winners in the shorts categories? Where you're like, I think it's going to be this one.
I would say the programming team overall, if you looked at where the scores are, the audience ends up reflecting, we're able in the way we do scoring to sort by, highest scoring film going down. And you will find that the vast majority of winners, and we give away a lot of awards. One of the wonderful things about our festival is we are just generous with awards to filmmakers. We want to acknowledge as many films as we can. But that list of close to maybe even just over 20 awards comes from that top 40.
Really?
Invariably, I could pull that list and it's like film number 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, those are the winners. Because that's usually what I look at to compare, because it also tells us how we're doing. since all but 4 of those awards are selected by our audience, if you're able to look and see, okay, that's who we're programming for.
Right.
And their highest scoring films are all in our top 40 scores as well. So that means our programming team is reflecting very well what our audience is going to enjoy. That's important to me. So I'm always looking at that to go, okay, is there anything we need to tweak? For the last several years, we've not needed to tweak. It's been very accurate.
Well, it sounds like the process you have set up too, will allow you to naturally evolve as the audience evolves too.
Absolutely.
And taste everything.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, we do the same thing with our programming teams. There's a wonderful diversity of voices that are part of that team to help us make the choices. That also make sure that we reflect accurately what different communities might think about different films that, culturally, some of us might have a blind spot to, not willfully, just because we don't have the experience to know that, that one element of that film might not land the way you think. And we have the diversity in our programming team to be able to address that and avoid those hiccups along the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of experience, for someone who's not that experienced in going online and streaming parts of a festival, can you walk us through the access, getting access to the films that are streaming?
Well, once you get that link, that's going to come if you've purchased a ticket or a pass, all you're going to need to do is click on that link. So a ticket's pretty obvious because it's going to take you right to what it is you want to see. But if you buy a pass, it's going to take you to our streaming site where you will be able to pick and choose. There will be a catalog of options. Here are the features. You can choose alphabetical order. You'll be able to sort by several different methods. Select short programs. In there will be the 2 award programs, our jury awards and our audience award programs. So basically you'll have an online catalog if you've bought a pass, which is why I highly recommend it. The pass will get you access to so much fantastic content that it will be more than worth it, I believe.
So, Paul, Dee and I noticed kind of a trend, and we were asking filmmakers as we were interviewing them for the podcast this year, this idea of the role of the short film in their career, whether it was to boost their skills, to gain a little bit more of a handle on the technical aspects. One director mentioned first time doing a narrative short, working with dialogue, because they had done music videos and things. Or is it just I need a reel and I need a springboard to get to a feature. So as you've been programming shorts and working with filmmakers over the years, what are your thoughts on the role of short films for the audience, I guess, but also for the filmmakers?
Well, the wonderful thing for the audience, we'll start there, is that short films are a great entree to understanding what independent film is like. And it's usually a pleasant surprise. I mean, I came to this role by someone who found it as a pleasant surprise in the late 80s. I went to see My Life as a Dog at this festival, my first experience with a subtitled film in a movie theater. I had been resistant. Shame on me. But I learned that day that I had been wrong for many years, and I loved the film. And I looked at, I don't even remember, I'm sure it was a program guide that had something called a short film program. And I'm like, what is a short film program? And I went to that short film program and fell in love with shorts. And for many, many years after that, I went to every shorts program and went, we'll fit in whatever features will fit around the shorts programs.
Yeah.
Because I knew, we're talking back when there was no such thing as the internet and streaming. So there was no, if you didn't watch the short films there, you were never going to see them. While movies were going to be on VHS so I knew I can go find those. I'll just save my program guide, but the shorts, this is it. And I fell in love with them, and it opened my eyes to independent film overall. I mean, I became a huge fan of the Cedar Lee Theater, and independent overall. So that's its gift to and value to audiences it's a great gateway to having a relationship, and also gives you an opportunity to watch such a variety of films. The wonderful thing about a shorts program is invariably everybody finds at least one short film in a program that they love and many that they connect with. And so they don't walk away disappointed no matter what. And then it opens them up to being willing, especially if they haven't before, like me back in the day, to going and trying those subtitled films from across the globe. So that's its value there. For the filmmakers, it's all of the things you said, because different filmmakers are coming from different levels of expertise. Many of them are student filmmakers that are making their first film. So for them, it's not a proof of concept. It is learning to use all the materials they have, all the tech that they need to use to make a film these days, and learning how to master their craft, including how to take a script and make it real. Because in film, it's really about how real it feels that makes it work. And what you read on the page oftentimes doesn't translate well to what's performed on the screen. There's a whole different art to it. So they learn that through that. But many filmmakers are making proof of concept. We had a feature film here called Disfluency that was here as a short film. So that means that film ended up being a proof of concept. It demonstrated there's a very powerful story here to be told that can easily be stretched out and make even more impact as a feature. Anna, the filmmaker Baumgarten, she's an incredible filmmaker who has all kinds of projects going now, but it all started with that short film that we had the pleasure of playing many, many years ago. And Secret, she's the one who said, it did get better.
Like that. As we close, Paul, I'm wondering if there's anything else you want to let our listeners know about CIFF 46, CIFF 46 Streams.
Just exactly what we just talked about. If you haven't watched independent film before, take a chance. You will be surprised, like I was back in 1986 or 87, that independent film is far more relatable than you might think. And there's still fantastic stories, which I think is Hollywood's thing, to tell fantastic stories. But what's incredible is there are so many very real stories that are relatable and that can have an impact truly on your life. They definitely have me. Film changed my life, not only in what I do, but literally the way I view the world has been impacted. And it's made me, many times I have filmmakers who've seen many of the programs go, we get you now, you're an activist. I'm like, yes, I am. But basically what I'm trying to do is reflect back how film changed me.
Sure.
And find those same messages, because I know way better than sitting and trying to debate someone about why you're right about something is to show them and tell them a story about someone who is in one of those circumstances that they have a strong opinion about, but they don't know anybody who's actually experiencing what it is they have a strong opinion about. And that film will really open your mind and make you go, oh, well, that makes it different, doesn't it? So take a chance, at a minimum, try a shorts program. You'll get a little bite-sized films of a bunch of the genres, because we make sure in every program to give you a little bit of everything. You'll see animation, you'll see documentary. Find the genre that you love, and then go find the feature films that Mallory and her team have put in there that will reflect that same, what I really like is the dramas. Oh, the docs blew me away, or the animation, or the family films, whatever it is, they're all there. The features team has curated an incredible lineup to go side by side, and there's so much there. So give it a shot. I think if we get you to do that, you'll be hooked and you'll be with us down here next year in person.
Thank you for being with us, Paul. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We've been talking with Paul Sloop, the short films programming manager for the Cleveland International Film Festival. The streaming portion of the 46th annual festival kicks off today, Sunday, April 10th at 11 a.m. and continues online through Sunday, April 17th at 11:59 p.m. Also going on through April 17th is the CIFF 46 annual campaign, so you still have plenty of time to show your support. For more details, log on to the CIFF website, clevelandfilm.org. I'm Dee Perry.
And I'm Aaron Spears.
We want to thank our sponsor for this podcast, Wayside Furniture, keeping it local since 1937. And thank you for listening to CIFF Speaks.